Hi guys, it's lovely and sunny outside, so I thought I'd do another video, and this one is to follow up on my video from several weeks ago, which was looking at tyres. And this is a follow-up to my video, and it's a long-term review of the Maxxis Rekon, along with a few other bits and pieces thrown in from various tyre combinations I've tried. Alright guys, so if you haven't seen my previous video or videos on my tyre combinations and what I was trying to achieve in terms of balancing a fast rolling setup with grip, I'm going to put the links to those videos in the comments below, so please have a look at those. But this long-term review of the Maxxis Rekon was really to give you my thoughts on how this works as both a front and rear tyre in the various tyre compounds. If you can see over my shoulder there, I've actually got 3 of these several tyres that I've got, and that's just a selection. So there's a dual compound, a 3C Max Terra and a 3C Max Speed hanging on my handlebars just there, and I've tried combinations of all of those, and so these are my thoughts. So why have I done a long-term follow-up review? Basically because through all my tinkering and trying to find the perfect setup, what I found out was I don't think there is such a thing as the perfect setup. There's so many variations in the type of terrain that you ride, the speed, the steepness of the descents, how much climbing there is, that there's no possible way of getting the perfect one tyre setup. I want to take you through what I thought about the Recon. So first off, I need to mention that my frame here on this Vitus Escape, 2.6 on the back, leave me very little mud clearance and clearance for things like chippings and stones that get stuck in the tread. So I actually did originally set the Recon setup with a max speed on the back, which is what we've got just here, with a Max Terra on the front, and I can say actually that worked really well. The max speed on the back is phenomenally quick, and the Max Terra on the front is actually very grippy. However, I don't think the tread on the Recon, even on the Max Terra, is quite aggressive enough as a front tyre to really aggressively hit those corners. And really it boils down to the size and depth of these cornering knobs. They are strong, they are kind of L-shaped, so they do grip, they do bite in, but when it gets really steep and really aggressive, there's just not quite enough in there to really grip in those really aggressive corners. If you're just going to do trail riding and you're doing fire roads with something that's not too steep and not too gnarly, then actually I think the Recon is a really good option for you. If, however, that's as a front tyre. If, however, you are mixing it up and doing all kinds of terrains with all kinds of styles of riding, maybe you're going to want something more aggressive. That said, the max speed on the back, if you have clearance in your frame for a 2.6 tyre, and actually these are Maxxis, so they do come up a little bit smaller. These measured at fraction under 2.5 when inflated, left to stretch, and then set to my desired pressure. Then the max speed works as a fantastic, one of the best rear tyres I've tried. So I would have no hesitation whatsoever in putting a max speed Recon on the back of any bike, because it's aggressive enough on the back to give good traction in the climb, gives you the right amount of grip and bite with a tiny bit of drift if you corner aggressively. So it works well as a rear tyre. It doesn't clear mud very well, so maybe not as a mud tyre. However, it's a very big squeeze to put a 2.6 on the back of this frame, so what I ended up doing was putting this on the back, which is a dual compound in a 2.4, which fits beautifully in this frame. But the difference between a dual compound and a max speed is the dual compound, the rubber in the cornering knobs is much softer, and it is possible to actually fold these over on the dual compound. The centre knobs roll incredibly fast, just as the max speed centre knobs do. So if it's a fast rolling setup you want, and you want something a little bit slimmer on the back, good option. But these don't bite in as well on the corners on the dual compound as they do on the max speed. Again, I'm talking rear tyre here. However, it's still a good option. Now that brings me to the front tyre. I wanted something with a bit more aggression or a bit more meat in those cornering knobs, and I keep coming back to the fact that I love the hands damp on the front. It's the perfect mix of aggression and rolling speed in the Addict Speed Grip compound. But I don't want to mix tyres. I don't want Maxxis rear, Schwalbe front. So through all my tinkering, what I've actually settled on is putting my 2.6 Addict Speed Grip compound in the hands damp tyre on the front, and the 2.35 Schwalbe Rock Razor again in the Addict Speed Grip compound on the back. So I've got a semi-slick on the back. Just a touch on this. You've got these small centering knobs, but you've actually got some quite aggressive cornering knobs on this. So this does work really well, and actually that rolls even quicker than the max speed Recon. So I feel like I've got as close to as perfect a mix as I can get for the different types of riding that I'm doing in terms of balancing out speed and grip. But don't let that put you off the Recon. If it's a fast rolling setup you want, there are mixtures of different tyre compounds that you can get. You could put a dual compound or a max speed on the back and then put a DHF or DHR2 on the front. That would give you a good setup as well. I am not a fan of the DHF and DHR2 in terms of cornering on the front, because again I think there's too much of a gap between the centre knobs and the cornering knobs, and I think that split second of transitioning on the DHF and DHR2 just leaves a little bit of uncertainty in your mind, whereas the hands damp is a much more rounded profile. You've got grip all the way through the transition. It's much more predictable on the front. So there you go, that's my long-term review of the Maxxis Rekon. If Maxxis is your thing, mix this up. There's plenty of front tyre options from Maxxis. And again, this will actually work as a front tyre if you're using the Max Terra on the front, as long as you're not getting too gnarly and too much into that descent downhill type riding. So that's going to wrap this video up, my long-term follow-up review for the Maxxis Rekon. If you like what you're seeing, please hit that like button. If you want notifications for future content, please hit that bell. And again, as always, please subscribe. And that's it, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers guys.